Welcome to the City Manager's Report. The City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and municipal news, and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. Your hosts, Emily Springstroh of Oshkosh Media and City Manager Mark Roloff.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on GovTV for your City Manager's Report. Your source for all the most current things that are happening here in Oshkosh, as well as a preview of the upcoming Common Council meeting agenda. I'm your host, Emily Springstroh, joined by your City Manager, Mark Roloff. So thanks for joining us today, Mark. It's great to have you.
Great to be here, Emily.
So we're going to go ahead and dive into our hot topics for the first half of today's show. We'll take a little break, and then we'll return with a review of the Common Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, March 27th, 2018. So, Mark, we are on the coattails of the biggest event for the city of Oshkosh every year, and that is the State of the City. So, Monday night was a great event. We had a great turnout. Tell us a little bit about some of the main themes that we covered in our presentation this year.
It's always fun to do the State of the City, but this year in particular was fun because we talked about all of the accomplishments we had done in 2017, but not to rest on our laurels. What are we going to do for 2018? And you can see as the crowd, time lapse fills in, huge crowd. I'd say easily 250 people were there. And we just talked about some of the projects that are next with respect to now that the Oshkosh Corporation project is underway, what's Oshkosh Avenue going to look like, and needing input on that. The arena's in, what's the Sawdust District going to look like? What do we do about being a more welcoming community to attract talent to our area? And then just areas of citizen engagement, and you can't do any better at citizen engagement than what State of the City is. And so I had a wonderful time just going from booth to booth as people talked to individuals, departments, talking to residents and vice versa, just about plans we have for the year, ideas, a little bit of criticism here and there, but nice, good feedback about what we can do to improve services for the city. So a lot of fun.
Yes, and we were able to award some well-deserving citizens for their time spent on boards and commissions, our wonderful community partnership awards. Overall, it was just a really positive evening and a lot of great conversations had throughout all of that.
It's always nice to recognize community groups that have helped us or done something significant for our community that does involve the city. The Museum Auxiliary for 90 years of service to us. Go EDC for 3 years of service to us, but you know, big and small, they all matter.
Yes.
And so we're just so happy to be able to recognize those folks. And even afterwards, I had somebody come up, but you forgot about this group or that group. And certainly there are so many wonderful partnerships that we have, and that's actually something to celebrate because that demonstrates what a vital community we are in terms of cooperating with each other and working on projects together to achieve common goals.
Oh yes, and I would of course tell that person to get in touch with me for next year for our Community Partnership Awards too.
Absolutely, yeah.
So if you weren't able to make it, like Mark said, 250 people were there, but of course there were people that couldn't make it, so if you couldn't, we did record the entire thing and we have it available on our website at oshkoshmedia.org, or just check out our Facebook page, YouTube channel, and we'll have that posted there as well for your viewing pleasure. Speaking of the State of the City and some of the main themes and points, you really hit on citizen engagement and civic engagement during your presentation at State of the City. So we have a few updates and opportunities for people too that you talked about in your presentation.
We want to keep going with this. We discussed a great deal of the Palco app that you can get download for your phone and give us input on a variety of issues. But we have two active ones right now because they're active because we're in the midst of things. The main one that we want to get people to be aware of is we're looking for input on what characteristics or traits would you like to see in our next fire chief. Chief Tim Franz is going to be retiring in June, and we're in the process of doing recruitment. So as we review the resumes and as the Police and Fire Commission evaluate and get some citizen groups to help them evaluate, what types of things would you like to see? So it's open-ended. We're
As
just
you can see, yes, there's some really good responses.
Some long, some small. It doesn't. If you have a couple words, that's good.
Just as good. Yes.
Give us a paragraph. We'll read that as well. The whole idea is to get a profile of the type of person we want. And a clone of Tim Franz has been probably the most common one because Tim's been a wonderful chief. But you know, we want to know. Let's dig a little deeper and find those things that we truly want to see in our next chief. And even I think Chief Franz recognizes he has set the stage for the next chief. So what's the next chapter look like? And that's one. The other one is a continuation of our theme at State of the City was, you know, after all that success we achieved in 2017, what's next for us? So what would you like to see next for Oshkosh in 2018? We got some great input already.
A lot of good responses.
You did a little word cloud at State of the City. Watch the video so you can see that. But what do you want to see? And again, that's an open-ended question. We're not looking for, you know, a multiple choice, pick one that we've already picked out. We totally want to know what things are there because it's amazing the little bit of nuggets that we got.
Definitely.
Housing was a big one that came out.
Housing was a big one, yes. A lot of great things that are coming out of these POCO surveys. Like you said, these are both open-ended questions. You won't always see open-ended questions. A lot of them will be yes or no or multiple choice, but these are just really cool opportunities because the sky is the limit on what you can respond with what you want to see happen in Oshkosh. So feel free to do that, polco.us/Oshkosh. There's a link on the city website for that as well. And then just one reminder that the fire chief one does close on March 30th, so we don't have as much time to take that one, so we encourage you to get on there and give us your input. It's extremely necessary. So moving on, we have some really exciting news that we got on Monday as well, and that is that Oshkosh Media was awarded with quite a few this year, some excellence awards from the WCM Media Fest, Best of the Midwest Media Fest. So we're really excited about that.
Well, you know, I don't know which one of us should be doing this because we're both plugging for things that we've been very involved with. There were 8 different programs that received excellence awards, and that doesn't include other ones that we got recognition for. But we're real pleased because the top 2 are things that we've been directly involved with. Last year's State of the City event was given an award of excellence. So the last time we got awarded was one that I missed. So I was happy to be there for this one at least because I was ill the one that we got the award for. But I think it shows the quality of Oshkosh Media. It sure isn't about the talent because it's not about me. It's about the substance that every State of the City has, and it's a tribute to Emily and all the folks that you never see because they're behind the cameras and in the control room. And then of course the 2017 edition of the City Manager's Report Top 10,
which was also our 500th episode. So that was very special.
And I was real pleased with that because I was looking forward to doing 500, and we did it, and it was a great tribute to how we've evolved over the years. So those were 2 great programs. But look at the other ones. Different departments, fire department, police department, our Oshkosh Today program, Kids Clinic, that was when the Bucks came up here to help promote for the herd, Helping Hands, and then I missed on Oshkosh Media's 30th anniversary because I wanted to highlight that, just celebrating what Oshkosh Media means to the community, and that's really what this is all about. So we have to celebrate using tools such as Oshkosh Media to engage the public. So wonderful recognition. And then, of course, we haven't gotten these awards yet. They were just announced. So when are we getting these?
We will be receiving these awards at the annual convention, the conference, in May at the WCM conference.
Which Wisconsin Community Media, you have to say.
Yes, Wisconsin Community Media, WCM, which is going to be hosted in Oshkosh for the very first time. So we're really excited about that. So be on the lookout on our Facebook page. We're going to be plugging what those programs were and how hard we worked on those throughout the month. But then definitely look at our website and be able to watch the videos too, because we've got all of those videos listed there, and we're so excited and just really honored.
It's nice that the program's going to be here in Oshkosh because we've got so many trophies to haul back. It'll be a short drive. We won't weigh down any of our cars.
We won't weigh down the car. That's awesome.
I'm really pleased with this.
Yes.
It's a tribute to everybody with Oshkosh Media.
Well, thank you very much, Mark. Moving on to some other really fun information to go over, and that is Oregon Street. As you might have noticed, the closures did begin this week. Currently, our closures are where, Mark?
Well, right now they're closed from just south of 7th to north of 9th. So right now the closures are not significant. This is the view looking to the north, and it just gives you an idea of what's closed right now. But by the time many of you are watching the show, all of 6th to 16th is going to be closed. That doesn't mean that the businesses on Oregon aren't accessible. In fact, I want to make a point of that. all of the businesses in Oregon are accessible. It's Easter week. Oaks Candy is alive and well and open, and don't be discouraged. You can enter from all of the cross streets.
Yes, all those side streets will still be open.
Right, exactly. And then of course, as it says here, even though it's going to be closed, 6th Avenue is going to be open, 16th Avenue is going to be open, and at one time or the other, 9th or South Park will remain open, one or the other at all times, and one of them will be closed for no more than 2 weeks at the most. So the idea is we know that 9th and South Park are very important, but don't be discouraged from visiting any of the establishments on Oregon Street. They're very accessible right off the side streets.
And this is a complete reconstruction, so everything's going on underneath the streets as we're doing this project.
The biggest part of this project is the sewer, and it's going to be a much deeper sewer because we are really trying to extend and get better sewer service all the way to the south end of town. So when you get down to this area of town, the sewer is going to be pretty deep, and to get it deep, you got to dig deep and wide. So it's going to have a big impact on the street itself, but the idea behind the sidewalks is we want to make it accessible for all the businesses. So I can't emphasize that enough. There are plenty of places on Oregon Street I go to, and I want to make sure that I can go there and everybody else can go there.
Yes, and so we want to encourage people to subscribe to the email subscription lists that are available on the city website. You can get updates every time that they have them for that project. I think we were looking at this being completed in fall, so it's going to be this summer that we're going to be dealing with this closure.
And remember, all of these businesses are local businesses. They rely on you, the local resident, to patronize them. So don't give up on them. It's really not that hard to get down there.
Yes, definitely. So that wraps up the first half topics that we have. So it's that time of the show where viewers have the chance to ask their city manager anything they want about things going on in Oshkosh, whether that's projects or something you drive by every day. So we're looking forward to hearing what the question is this week. Let's take a look. All right, Mark, so the question is, what is the update on the new water tower?
The numbers of inquiries we've gotten for this one has been phenomenal. I got asked this a ton at State of the City, in addition to all the other questions we've been asked about this. Actually, we're in the process of sanitizing the water tower as we speak. There's a little technical requirement that you've got to get 2 positive tests that everything's clear 24 hours apart. So we're in the midst of doing that, and hopefully by the time this is viewed that it'll have passed the second test. It's already passed the first test. If not, you actually have to drain the water tower and start all over again. We value safety and security of our water very seriously, so that's what we do. So that's a 750,000 gallon capacity. So other questions we got is how much other water do we have? And so you can see from this chart, we got 3 3/4 million of elevated storage throughout the city. But Marion Road is a big one, especially because it involves the central part of the city. And this is where it gets us our pressure for fire suppression. So that's why it's so important. So if all checks out, the water you'll be drinking will be coming from that water tower as you're watching the show. And if it doesn't pass the test, we'll just have to wait, do another drain and refill and get it done. But normally it passes on the first test, but every once in a while it doesn't, so you have to do these things.
Yes, and so once these tests all get passed and the new water tower is in use, we have a date for the demolition of the old one, which is tentatively May 14th, because a lot of this is dependent on weather as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course, enjoy this picture while you have it, because this is going to be a very rare time in our history that both water towers are there. You'll be able to date stamp any photograph that shows that that's 2017 or 2018. So yeah, enjoy the view while you can, because by mid-May we're going to start knocking it down. But we actually have to give a chance for now the cell phone companies that lease space on the top of our tower to move over there. So the other question we've been getting is, what's that circle on the top? It looks like a hat. It's actually to shield all of the antennas, and actually we're getting more and more antennas. The demand for cell tower antennas and things like that gets very high, and this shields it from looking just unsightly.
Right, definitely. So it's been really interesting to see the whole process from start to almost finish, but we'll definitely keep you guys updated on the different steps that are taking place, and when the Marion Road, the old one, will be taken down. So great question this week. If you have a question for Mark, feel free to email it to us, post it on our Facebook page, or tweet at the City of Oshkosh, and we'll make sure that he gets an answer for you on the next episode of CMR. So with that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive into the City Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, March 27th. We'll be right back on City Manager's Report.
I'm going to bring it.
Bring it.
Raila.
Bring it. We are going to bring it.
Bring it.
This election.
This election,
This election, I'm going to bring it.
I'm going to bring it.
Bring it.
Bring it to the ballot.
Bring it to the ballot.
Now you need to show a photo ID, like a Wisconsin driver license, passport, or Wisconsin state ID card, before casting your ballot in the next election. Find out whether your ID will work at bringit.wisconsin.gov. And don't forget to bring your ID to the ballot.
Calling all pop culture fanatics. Your favorite characters are coming to the Oshkosh Public Museum. Replay is the ultimate throwback, featuring more than 30 vibrant pieces of art that celebrate the comic books, movies, and superheroes of the iconic 80s. Experience Replay, the exhibition, on display February 18th to May 13th at the Oshkosh Public Museum. For more information, visit oshkoshmuseum.org.
Hello and welcome back to City Manager's Report. Thanks again for joining us. We're here with City Manager Mark Roloff. We're going to take a look at some of the highlights and big topics that is going to be discussed at the Tuesday, March 27th Common Council meeting here in Oshkosh. So, Mark, first item that we have on our list that we want to talk about is the public hearing, and that's number one, and that is for the resolution for special assessments on the Washington Ave project. And it's not just this item that we're talking about, Washington Avenue. There's other items later on in the agenda as well.
This is the second big street project of the year. We just
Yes.
talked about Oregon Street. Now it's Washington Avenue, but I keep referring it to Washington Avenue, but it's much more in depth than that. Washington Avenue is the one that's visible, but it's also Court Street, and it's a little bit of Otter Avenue from State Street east of the tracks, and also Jefferson Street and State Street, a little bit of that in that area. So there'll be some disruptions in that area, and this is the special assessment portion. And then later on in the meeting, we actually award the bids. We've got some traffic equipment that we need to purchase, as well as the awarding of the project. And the bid award itself is $6 million, so you can't just discount those types of things. The city absorbs a lot of the cost, but we do special assess a portion of that. But Washington Avenue is a major project. A lot of storm sewer going in there in addition to the street itself. And then it's time to get a little water and sewer done there as well. So we call it comprehensive street, and it really is. But we wanted to get this done this year. We wanted all the construction trucks from the Y to be long gone, even though it's going to be a little disruptive for the Y. You can enter that off of Merritt, so you should be okay to get to the Y. The Howard's making plans that when they open in July or June, that they'll be ready to accommodate their new visitors and guests. And then just the other areas. So we'll be having meetings with the neighbors and filling them in on things because we want to make sure that we minimize the inconvenience that goes in with any street project.
Definitely, and this is going to be a big one. So complete reconstruction, like you said, you talked a lot about this during the State of the City presentation. Starting within a couple weeks, maybe tell us a little bit about the other streets that are affected by this. Like you said, it's not just Washington Avenue. Maybe take us through that list.
Court Street is probably the next biggest one because in order to drain Washington Avenue properly, you've got to get the water down to the river. And Court Street is the one that goes right down past the fire station through CP, right between the convention center and Leach Amphitheater out to the river. And then the cross streets there. Otter is probably the most obvious one, but we have to drain that entire area in order to get the water away from the streets, and it keeps from breaking down the streets over time. So that's part of the process that you go through. Again, long overdue. Anybody that's been a patron of any of the destinations on the east side, Menominee Park, the library, as well as the folks on the east side that drive it to and from work every day, it's a big inconvenience, and we know that. this is one of those streets that is long overdue, and we're so happy to get it done. And boy, will it look wonderful. It's going to do so much for that Washington Avenue corridor. It's
a long time coming. I think people will be very excited with the outcome, but patience is appreciated, like you said, during this sign of spring, I guess you can say, as this work begins. And then as far as detours go, stay tuned for those. Those will be posted to the city website as soon as they're ready. Otherwise, I encourage you once again to join the email subscription list and get updates sent directly to your inbox so you don't have to go searching out for those as well. So looking forward to this, and like anything else, it's a sign of summer to come, construction season. Other thing that we wanted to mention under the consent agenda is the authorization of submittal for the DNR stewardship grant for the Lakeshore Riverwalk. So tell us what this is, what grant this is, and where it would be applied.
The Department of Natural Resources has what they call a stewardship grant, and it's for improvements to public recreation, and a Riverwalk qualifies as that. We have been generously donated $600,000 from Oshkosh Corporation. We have some funds that are set aside, and between those two, we're hoping to use those to leverage to get a grant to minimize our costs. But this is an artist rendering of what Oshkosh Corporation had put together, what they envisioned for the Riverwalk. And this is my dream, to have active people making use of it.
Looks pretty good to me.
And the whole idea is to get it from Rainbow Park all the way through past the Oshkosh Corporation property, continuing on the Lakeshore property, all the way to the Bunamore Bridge over Highway 41. The whole idea is to connect it together, and we're looking forward to hopefully getting a grant that will help offset those costs.
Definitely. It's always exciting to hear updates on the Riverwalk, and we're so excited to see that new construction happening over there. Moving down, we've got the awarding bid for Public Works contract number 1806 to Al Dix Concrete for the concrete sidewalk rehab program. So this is an annual contract that we do every year. Tell us what the project is and where the locations are going to be.
Well, you may recall, we have the city broken up into 10 areas, and we evaluate 1/10 of the city every year to identify sidewalks that don't meet the standards that could cause tripping hazards and things like that. And then when we start doing those projects, neighbors will often say, well, can you do a little more? Can you do this? Can you do an apron? So we work with the neighbors on that as well. The area in question this year, everybody's gotten noticed about this already, but in case you forgot about it, it's pretty much, it's north and east of the Fox River. The north boundary is on New York Avenue. The east boundary is Mount Vernon. So if you're west of Mount Vernon and south of New York, on the north side or east side of the river, that area is subject. So that includes the university area, a good portion of the downtown area as well. So you've probably already gotten notice. We've evaluated, painted your sidewalk a color that says, we're looking at this sidewalk, but this is to get the project started.
Excellent, and it's always kind of interesting to hear that is done every year. So if your time has not come yet, it should be coming, like you said, in the different sections that we've broken the city into. So thank you for the update on that. Item next that we want to talk about is a lot of special events, big list of special events on this agenda. One that we wanted to kind of showcase is the Oshkosh Saturday Farmers Market, as well as the Wednesday one in South Park. It's so exciting to have this on the agenda.
Yeah, well, we wanted to wait until we had all those issues resolved with the Farmers Market. We had a really good resolution at the last meeting. And so now that those issues are behind us, the Farmers Market is just getting their special events. It starts on June 2nd for the Saturday Farmers Market, and that runs through the end of October. And then the one that some people have said they didn't know about, and we're like, we don't know where you've been. We know about it. Down at South Park, starting July 18th through the end of September on Wednesdays, another great farmers market.
The market in the park.
The market in the park. You get a little bit of food trucks. You get, of course, the farmers that are there selling their products. And it's a great community event as well. So you can take both of those farmers market events, and it just adds so much. It adds so much quality of life to the community. And the great part of the farmers market is they're both good family events. But down at the park, if it's a hot day, bring the kids down, go to the splash pad, or have them go to the playground. There's bands playing.
It's awesome.
There's so many things you can do to have fun with it. And then, so those are two of the events. And the other one I always like to talk about is the Live at Lunch series. That's on Wednesdays throughout the summer at noontime, middle of June through middle of August. The Chamber puts that on with the bid. Look for that, but we're happy to talk about that as well.
That too, yes. And definitely check out the agenda and tune into the council meeting because there's so many good events on here and there's just no way we could cover them all. So we're looking forward to all of these wonderful things happening in Oshkosh. Moving down under new resolutions, the update to the City of Oshkosh Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan. This is something that the Parks Department is working on right now. Tell us some of the main points that we're looking at with this plan.
The purpose of the Comprehensive Outdoor Plan is to map out improvements that are needed to keep our park system viable. It's actually a requirement that if you're going to be seeking grants like the stewardship grant that was mentioned earlier, that you have these improvements identified in what's called the CORP, the Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan, so that it looks like it's in keeping with the plan for the parks. So we've got these projects identified and prioritized. The last time we did it was in 2011, and it's good to update it about every 5 years or so. So it's actually been 6-7 years. So the Parks Board has made a recommendation. Plan Commission's looked at it and also recommends approval, and now it's going to the council.
Exciting stuff. Looking forward to the update on that and hearing a little bit more about some of the main points in the plan too. So.
Absolutely.
And then moving down under council member announcements and statements, one more event that we want to plug in this show today, and that's the Unity and Community event coming up on May 5th. Tell us about that one.
Mayor Cummings and Assistant Chancellor for Diversity and Inclusion, Sylvia Carey Butler at the university, have gotten a lot of different community groups together to celebrate our diversity. And so Unity and Community Day is Saturday, May 5th, 11 to 3 over at the Leach Amphitheater. A lot of different cultures. You'll be amazed at the number of different cultures that are going to be represented at this event. And they are all folks that live in our community. You may not know everybody, but you'll get an opportunity to meet them and learn about their cultures and, of course, celebrate their food, which is also a cool part.
No.
But it's just a nice event to do that, and the university is very involved in it, so we're much appreciative of the efforts that they're putting forth. So hopefully it'll be a great community event. Pray for good weather,
yes.
And then we can just hopefully just improve a cultural awareness in our community.
Very much looking forward to this awesome event here in Oshkosh, bringing the community together. And then one last item that we wanted to discuss on this show is the polling site location changes for the spring election. So kind of walk us through what these changes are going to be, Mark.
4 of the schools we're going to be moving the polling places out of, and it's mainly for school security purposes. So we have these identified. So, current location for Washington School, it's getting moved over to Trinity Evangelical Lutheran Church. And then similarly, you've got different locations. This is for Jefferson School, so it's getting moved over to First English on Minnesota. And then Franklin School is getting moved over to St. Jude the Apostle. And then finally, you have our Carl Traeger School is getting moved over to Living Waters, I believe, is
Yes.
Lutheran Church. So those 4 locations, but most important is Tuesday, April 3rd is Election Day.
Yes.
City Council, School Board, Circuit Judge, Supreme Court are at a minimum, I believe. There's also County Board in some areas. So, but if you don't know where to vote, just go on their website or give the City Clerk's office a call and they'll help you out.
Yes, it's all right there. They're very helpful, and we encourage everyone to get out there and vote. So that is going to do it. We are just about out of time on City Manager's Report. So Mark, once more, I'd like to thank you for joining us today.
Always glad to.
So once again, the Common Council meeting is this Tuesday, March 27th at 6 p.m. You can watch it live on GovTV and on our website at oshkoshmedia.org, or you can listen to it on 101.9 Oshkosh FM, which is also online and on the TuneIn Radio app for mobile devices. Make sure to like Oshkosh Media on Facebook or follow us on Twitter for all your community and government programming and updates, or check us out on YouTube for replays and past episodes of your favorite programs. And as always, don't forget, if you have a question for Mark, you can send it to us on Twitter at City of Oshkosh, post it on our Facebook page, or email us, and he'll answer it on the next episode of CMR. So once again, thank you very much for joining us today, and we'll see you next time on City Manager's Report.